Rising up against a mountainous horizon are so many unique and luxurious dwellings, which set the stage for a desert oasis like no other. One that owes its entire existence to Hollywood. The high-end hotels and spas, excellent restaurants, quality diversions, and beautiful homes found in Palm Springs and the rest of the Coachella Valley took root here in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s as a weekend getaway for Hollywood stars looking for a place to relax, enjoy some pool time, hang with their celebrity friends, and indulge themselves. As author Howard Johns writes in his definitive book, Palm Springs Confidential, Playground of the Stars, certainly without the allure, glamour, and fairy dust of those silver screen memories, real estate values in the desert would be considerably diminished. Palm Springs has seen a revival of interest in these former celebrity homes, many of them built in the mid-century modern architectural style, which found inspiration here and is now celebrated every year during Modernism Week. Whether mid-century modern, Spanish colonial, or Mediterranean, these homes of the stars have become part of the cultural fabric of Palm Springs, each with a story to tell. We're going to explore some of the more unique and captivating celebrity dwellings in this desert escape. The neighborhood of Old Las Palmas, nestled at the foot of Mount San Jacinto, was home to Palm Springs royalty. New York builder Alvin Hicks began in the 1920s, turning the dry landscape into a lush sanctuary for well-heeled celebrities. This expansive mid-century modern estate was custom designed for one of the biggest stars of her time. It's now owned by an A-list actor of today. The celebrity baton has been passed. Leonardo DiCaprio purchased the 6-bedroom, 8-bath house in 2014 for $5.3 million. The house was built in 1964 for famed actress, singer, dancer, and talk show host Dinah, who was the Oprah Winfrey of her day. Designed by renowned architect Donald Wexler, the structure is considered a crown jewel in the modernist style. Leonardo uses the home as a vacation getaway, but it's available for short-term rentals as well, starting at about $4,000 a night. The house was recently renovated. The 1.3-acre compound was large enough to be featured on Netflix's Instant Hotel show. There is no Leonardo memorabilia inside. Still, it's a beautiful place to chill. Leonardo's backyard shares a fence with the former Palm Springs home of one of Hollywood's most legendary and beloved actors, who passed away in 2020 at the age of 103. Kirk Douglas purchased this California-style modernist house in 1959 and owned it for 40 years. He and his wife Ann expanded the property to include a tennis court, gymnasium, and spa. They covered the walls with sculptures and paintings by famous artists such as Chagall and Picasso. The Douglas home became a social hotspot in the old Las Palmas neighborhood, hosting friends such as Burt Lancaster, Yul Brynner, Gregory Peck, Warren Beatty, and Natalie Wood, along with political figures including Senator Robert Kennedy. Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn also rented the 5-bedroom, 8-bath property for 2 summers. Hollywood was definitely a tight-knit community in those days. Douglas formed his film production company in the residence, leading to his epic historical drama Spartacus. The former gladiator parted with the home in the late 1990s. Designed by famed architect Donald Wexler, the house, sitting on 3/4 of an acre, sold in 2016 for $3.5 million. In 2020, the city of Palm Springs designated the home as a Class 1 historic site. Just a few doors down, one of today's popular celebrity couples enjoyed this stylish desert retreat. Actress Goldie Hawn and her lifelong partner, actor Kurt Russell, were also looking for a place to chill and escape the pressures of Hollywood. In the early 1990s, they owned this distinctive residence in Old Las Palmas. Built in 1974, the 3-bedroom, 4-bath home featured a grand entry that evokes luxury living. The house sold in 2002 for $750,000. It's now valued at more than $2 million. One of the more famous celebrity homes in Palm Springs is Elvis Presley's honeymoon hideaway. The 2-story modernist house was enshrined with this title after the self-proclaimed King of Rock and Priscilla Presley spent their honeymoon here following their Las Vegas wedding in 1967. Legendary crooner Frank Sinatra lent the newlyweds his Learjet for their trip to Palm Springs. Elvis carried his bride over the threshold and up the home stairs, singing Hawaiian wedding song from his film Blue Hawaii. Elvis married Priscilla after she turned 21, but had been courting her from the age of 14. The couple's daughter, Lisa Marie, was born exactly 9 months after their wedding. Elvis never owned this home. He rented it for a year for $21,000 after the couple were married. The house was famous even before Elvis lived here. Built in 1960 by architect William Crissell, the circular structure was ahead of its time in design and became a signature dwelling in the mid-century modern style of Palm Springs. The living room features an attached couch following the contour of the rock wall. A floating fireplace sits in the middle of the room, surrounded by floor-to-ceiling windows. The kitchen's round island was also ahead of its time. There's a large barbecue cooking oven with a hooded top. The house includes a tennis court, the secluded pool, patio, and garden blend into the back of the home, creating an indoor-outdoor living space. The house has been open for periodic tours over the years, and almost all the Elvis memorabilia was placed in the home long after his year-long rental. The home sold in December 2020 for $2.6 million. It's undergoing a major renovation. Elvis enjoyed Palm Springs so much that a few years later he decided to become a buyer instead of a renter. In 1970, he and Priscilla purchased this Spanish-style ranch for $105,000. The couple lived in the mountainside property for a few years before divorcing in 1973. Elvis turned the property into his new bachelor pad, expanding the original three-bedroom home with an entertainment suite he called the Jungle Room, along with adding a recording studio where he produced several hit songs. Elvis enjoyed the warm desert nights in the pool and jacuzzi. The house was dubbed Graceland West. He'd party with his fellow celebrity friends in Palm Springs, such as Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, and Liberace. However, all that partying got the best of Elvis. He died of a drug overdose in 1977 at the age of 42. The property changed ownership several times. It fell into disrepair and went into foreclosure. This iconic home in Palm Springs belonged to another Hollywood celebrity who had his own share of divorce drama. He was also one of the most popular and influential musical artists of the 20th century, whose love for the desert oasis spanned more than 50 years. Frank Sinatra commissioned this house in 1947. It became one of the first examples of desert modernism, with its flat roof, horizontal lines, and floor-to-ceiling windows. The singer, actor, and showman originally wanted a two-story Georgian-style house, but architect E. Stuart Williams convinced Sinatra that this new architectural approach would be more appropriate for the desert. Plus, it incorporated the latest technology, central air conditioning. The residence became known as Twin Palms because of the two palm trees overlooking the piano-shaped pool. The house is now available for vacation, wedding, or event rentals. During the 5 years that Sinatra owned the home, Twin Palms was the backdrop for romantic turmoil as he divorced his first wife, Nancy, to marry actress Ava Gardner. That tumultuous marriage only lasted a few years. One of the home's original bathroom sinks is cracked from when Sinatra threw a champagne bottle at his new wife. He also threw Gardner's clothes out on the lawn. Old Blue Eyes had a temper. The house has been renovated in keeping with the style of Sinatra's time here. There are also photos so guests never forget where they're staying. Looking for more seclusion, Sinatra sold Twin Palms and bought this property along the Tamarisk Golf Course in nearby Rancho Mirage. Sinatra expanded the residence over the years, buying adjacent lots and turning the 2.5-acre parcel into what became known as the compound. It includes a main house, movie theater, 5 guest houses, an actual train caboose turned into a barbershop and sauna, 2 swimming pools, tennis courts, and a personal art studio. Each building was named after one of Sinatra's songs: New York, New York, High Hopes, The Tender Trap, Send in the Clowns, Chicago, and My Way. The compound was sold in the late 1990s and is privately owned, with no tours or short-term rentals. However, the street in front of the residence is named in honor of the legendary crooner, and there's a memorial plaque at the entrance. He owned the property for more than 40 years and routinely hosted a variety of entertainment and political figures, including President Jack Kennedy when he was a senator. The country club appealed to Sinatra because it allowed both blacks and Jews. Sinatra's best friend, singer-actor Sammy Davis Jr., was restricted from most places unless he was performing. That was life in mid-20th century America. Sinatra was very vocal in his opposition to racism and bigotry. The inclusive Tamarisk Golf Club was founded by celebrities George Burns, Danny Kaye, Jack Benny, and the Marx Brothers. Sammy Davis Jr., also a member of the Tamarisk Country Club, spent time recovering at Sinatra's home after the violent car accident in which he lost his left eye.
I feel so good today. Feeling lucky.
Sammy Davis Jr. enjoyed the desert oasis as much as Sinatra. He purchased this two-story Spanish-style house near downtown Palm Springs at the foot of the San Jacinto Mountains.
Got a pocket full of sun. Won't say it won't go down. I'm a winner, I can feel it in the city, yeah. Heavy when I breathe it in it.
Davis became a generous figure in the community, participating in countless charity events and fundraisers for area hospitals and other local nonprofits.
It's my lucky day.
Sammy was part of an informal but A-list group of performers known as the Rat Pack, including Sinatra and a singer-actor TV host famous for his suave demeanor, nicknamed the King of Cool, Dean Martin. Martin owned this relatively modest home in the Las Palmas neighborhood of Palm Springs for many years. Once a jewel of modernist design, the 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with pool has seen better days. When he wasn't playing golf, one of Dean's favorite pastimes at this abode was drinking scotch and watching westerns. Martin's grandchildren would sell lemonade on the curb to visiting fans hoping to catch a glimpse of the star. The King of Cool was not only one of the most popular singers of his day, but had a successful career in film and television, hosting his own variety show and creating the first celebrity roasts. Just a few doors down lived a multi-talented artist who sparkled in her own right in the era of Hollywood musicals. Actress and singer Charisse and her singer husband Tony Martin found their desert escape in this 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath home, along with a private guest house. The spa-like residence has some special touches with its circular driveway and covered entry. Further down the street on this corner lot, another Rat Packer established a comfortable retreat. This one had a strong Kennedy connection. Actor Peter Lawford was married to Patricia Kennedy, the sister of President Jack Kennedy. Built in 1957, the 4-bedroom, 3-bath house has been completely renovated. It sold in 2020 for $2.75 million. The listing really played up the home's Hollywood history, stating that what other house in Palm Springs reflects the notorious heyday of the 50s and 60s better than this celebrity house? The stories of seduction and scandal were woven involving actor and Rat Packer Peter Lawford, the Kennedys, Marylin Monroe, and Sinatra. Not too far away, there's another home which found its way into Hollywood lore. This is where Dean Martin would host his afternoon tea dances, playing piano and singing for select friends. Located in the Little Tuscany neighborhood, the open, airy, and modernist residence was the perfect setting for an entertaining mix of cocktails, music, and celebrity. Dean Martin enjoyed his time here so much that he gifted the home's owners a grand piano, which still sits in the living room today. Renovated, the house listed in 2020 for $1.4 million. The listing also played up the home's glamorous past, describing it as a former gathering place for many of Hollywood's elite and most prestigious stars in the 1960s. This is another Palm Springs home where not only the piano took center stage, but the man on the keyboard proved to be a showman like no other. Liberace, known for his flamboyant performances, always wanted people to take notice. His vacation home here was no different. Decorated with a musical Roman theme, the legendary pianist called the place Piazza de Liberace. Neighbors said Liberace would play piano well into the night and get up in the morning in his bathrobe and eat leftover fried chicken by the pool. The home's new owners have done a complete renovation, but have kept some of the famed pianist's signature touches, especially on the exterior. Liberace also purchased this Mexican-style compound in Old Las Palmas in 1967. The entertainer spared no expense in restoring the former bed and breakfast into his personal showcase, where he could entertain friends and fellow celebrities, along with hosting his infamous Greek-style sex parties. To help things along, guest suites were decorated with themes, such as the Rudolph Valentino suite, the Zebra Room, and the Persian tent. Chandeliers were also hung from the ceilings and gold-leafed mirrors fastened to the walls. Casa de Liberace, as he called this residence, became his second home for more than 20 years. Liberace died of AIDS here in 1987. The property has changed ownership several times since, and walls have been put up around the compound. Over in Leonardo DiCaprio's neighborhood in Old Las Palmas are some of the largest and oldest former celebrity estates in Palm Springs. A starlet of Hollywood's classical musical era, Ann Miller, fell in love with the big compound at first sight. Sitting on 4-walled acres with a Moorish-style main house and 4 separate adobe residences, palm tree-studded expanse with beautiful mountain views has changed ownership quite a few times since it was built in 1928. Hollywood screen legend Cary Grant was a frequent visitor. He had his own guest house with a pool and putting course. The debonair leading man enjoyed his time here so much, Grant christened the exclusive compound Villa Paradiso, saying it was all that and more. The timeless estate does indeed exude the ambiance of a classic oasis paradise, inside and out. Just next door and across the street from Leonardo DiCaprio's current digs was the home of an actress who took celebrity legend to new heights. Elizabeth Taylor lived in this lavish Spanish-style residence with her second husband, movie producer Mike Todd. The 1.5-acre hacienda features 7 bedrooms and 10 baths, including 3 separate guest houses, a courtyard veranda, open-air pavilion, a wine cellar, lush landscaping, a reflecting pool, and mountain views. There's even an air-conditioned doghouse. The couple were only married for a year and had a daughter together before Todd died in a plane crash. Her husband's unexpected death left Taylor half-crazed with grief, according to friends. This is the home where the actress came to recover. Taylor would again find happiness and a new home in Palm Springs. This time, she decided to purchase the property instead of renting and found her new desert oasis again in the upscale Las Palmas neighborhood. Though smaller at 4 bedrooms and 4 baths, Taylor's new dwelling was plush. She lived here from 2004 until her death in 2011 at the age of 79. It's been renovated but is still filled with priceless possessions that belong to the legendary actress. A print of Andy Warhol's famous portrait of the star hangs in the living room.
little situation.
This more modest mid-century house in Palm Springs played a part in one of Elizabeth Taylor's more scandalous marriages. 1950s crooning sensation Eddie Fisher and his actress wife Debbie Reynolds owned this home when Eddie was having an affair with Taylor.
Can't seem to get away from it. I got to break free.
Eddie divorced Debbie to marry Liz, but not before their not-so-secret relationship generated months of tabloid headlines. Debbie Reynolds did have some fond memories in this house, often coming here with her baby daughter and the future Star Wars Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher.
And I can't seem to get away from it.
Debbie had a lasting fondness for Palm Springs. She later purchased this home in Las Palmas Heights with her second husband, Harry Carole. His high-stakes gambling left the couple millions of dollars in debt. The Hilltop residence was completely reconstructed in 2008 after Debbie sold the property. With over 5,500 square feet of living space, the 4-bedroom, 5-bath residence features an expansive living room and veranda with an opening glass door that disappears into the wall. In June 2020, the home sold for close to $4 million. One former celebrity home that has recently been renovated and is available for short-term rentals is this hacienda Spanish-style compound in downtown Palm Springs. It was a frequent vacation getaway for one of history's greatest comedians. Lucille Ball and her husband Desi Arnaz spent a lot of time here early in their marriage. The 5-bedroom, 5-bath home became a popular place for celebrity parties and events. Now called the Lucy House, it was one of the first dwellings built in what became the movie colony for Hollywood stars in the early 1930s. The legendary Mirador Hotel used to sit across the street. The corner would be bursting with celebrity cross traffic. Palm Springs movie colony was home to more than one celebrity couple looking to escape the pressures of Hollywood. Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh, both at the height of their acting careers, purchased this post and beam house in 1960. That year, both had been nominated for Oscars, Curtis in The Defiant Ones and Leigh in Psycho. The 5-bedroom, 5-bath home incorporates expansive windows that look out onto the mountains and includes a guest house. The couple dubbed their compound Camp Curtis, often hosting celebrity friends such as Frank Sinatra and Kirk Douglas. However, their good times here did not last long. Curtis and Leigh divorced in 1962 after 10 years of marriage. Leigh sold the house 2 years later. The home was recently renovated.
Feeling alive, well, maybe I'm pushing
So many celebrity homes in Palm Springs follow the mid-century modern style which originated here in the 1950s and 60s. The Kaufmann House could be called the mother of modernist architecture. It was once owned by singer Barry Manilow, who found comfort and inspiration in the unique home. Built in 1946 by architect Richard Nutra, the structure's mix of steel and glass in horizontal lines, along with vertical stone walls, laid the framework for what was to come. It was the seamless blending of indoor and outdoor living that became the foundation of modern design, celebrating and complementing the desert oasis. This modernist house on the other side of Palm Springs was constructed decades later. But the owner was already well versed in creating his own cultural classics. Walt Disney and his wife Lillian built their 4-bedroom, 4-bath residence on the Indian Canyons Golf Course in 1962. It became known as the Technicolor Dream House, with its bright colors and Disney-inspired decor. The residence stayed in the Disney family until 2015, but sold again in 2020 for its asking price of $1.1 million. The home had been available for short-term rentals for anyone seeking a little of that famous Disney magic. Not far from Walt Disney's vacation getaway is a canyon where 2 well-known celebrities took up permanent residence. One even became the mayor of Palm Springs. Hiding in the trees of the Mesa neighborhood is the former residential compound of Sonny Bono. Underneath the thick foliage, there is an expansive Mediterranean-style estate that includes 2 houses joined together. This residence is the reason Bono went into politics after tangling with the city of Palm Springs over an unauthorized concrete wall he built on the property. Bono was determined to change things in City Hall. The rest is history. The lush garden compound went on the market in 2020 for $5 million, boasting a 6,648 square foot main house and 2 large guest houses, one with 2 bedrooms and a gym. The complex could be described as a high-end boutique hotel with its multiple verandas, tennis court, swimming pool, and spectacular views. The listing states the property is prime for intimate parties or very large soirees. Even though Sonny Bono became mayor, then congressman for Palm Springs, Cher's former husband and singing partner cherished his moments of solitude. The compound is where Cher and Bono's widow gathered with their extended families after Sonny's death in a ski accident in 1997. In this Palm Springs church, Cher gave her emotionally poignant eulogy for Sonny, which drew a nationally televised audience. A bronze statue in downtown Palm Springs pays tribute to the former mayor. Sonny was next-door neighbors for many years with Three's Company star Susan Summers. A long, winding road leads up to Summers' 73-acre mountain retreat. The actress lived in the home for more than 40 years. This is where she developed the Thigh Master and wrote numerous diet and self-help books. The mansion is modeled after a chateau in the south of France. Comprised of 5 separate villas connected by stone paths, there's the main house, guest houses, an outdoor amphitheater, all accessible by funicular or tram. Summers sold a home in January 2021 for $8.5 million. The former Three's Company star likes a mountain view and bought this residence in the exclusive South Ridge neighborhood of Palm Springs for more than $2 million and is doing a complete renovation.
I want a 50s kind of love. I want a heart that isn't so messed up. I want the pure stuff that I once dreamed of. Brush all the dirt under the rug. I want a 50s kind of love. Shining black and white, simply enough. No real earth, no complications of that no good, nasty, real love. I want a 50s kind of love. Kind of love. I want a heart that isn't so messed up. I want to count all of the stars above and brush the dirt under the rug. I want a 50s kind of love. Movie line says simply enough. No real sex, no complications of that no good, nasty, real love.
This pink stucco Spanish-style estate in Old Las Palmas looks like a movie set from the glory days of Hollywood. The half-acre compound filled with banana plants, palm trees, rose bushes, and flowering vines was home to one of the most glamorous celebrity couples of the 1930s and 40s. Leading man Clark Gable and his comedic actress wife Carole Lombard said they had some of their fondest memories here. Unfortunately, their happy marriage was cut short when Lombard was killed in a plane crash in 1942. Racked with grief, Gable sold the property. Built in 1925, the 4-bedroom, 6-bath estate has been carefully maintained and restored over the years. It sold in 2021 for $2.7 million. Old Hollywood was indeed a close-knit community, especially in Palm Springs. The home of Carole Lombard's first husband was just a few blocks away. William Powell was a major movie star and fan favorite when he purchased his 6-bedroom, 6-bath Spanish-style ranch in 1946. The home has not recently been renovated, but was listed for yearly rentals. It last sold in 2001 for $535,000.
My feet every time I see him. Handsome, handsome man. I don't even know his name. I don't know where he lives, but he's still to blame for all the misery he gives me, 'cause he's handsome, oh, so handsome. Gentle and sweet, knocks me off my feet every time I see him. Handsome, handsome man, handsome man.
There's one celebrity home in Palm Springs that has preserved the majesty of classic Hollywood in this sweeping desert landscape. At least for now. This mansion belonged to Magna Gabor, one of the famous three Gabor sisters who swept through Hollywood in the 1950s and 60s. All of them beautiful socialites, including actresses Eva and Jaja. They made their impressions on Palm Springs as well. Located in the Little Tuscany neighborhood, Magda's former home was recently put on the market with the tagline, "In need of updating." Before that happens, enjoy a style and era that is quickly fading into Hollywood history. It sold in 2020 for $1.7 million.
This is a new phase, game change.
By the 1970s, Hollywood culture had changed. For a new generation of actors, Palm Springs was looking decidedly old school.
Seeing with bright eyes.
Jet travel, the sexual revolution, and a breakdown of the Hollywood studio system freed celebrities to enjoy their fun openly anywhere in the world. The local economy and home prices took a nosedive, with many of the former celebrity homes, restaurants, and hotels falling into disrepair or being demolished. It took more than 20 years before Palm Springs would start to shine again. Boosted by a renewed appreciation for modernist houses that could be had on the cheap compared to the skyrocketing home prices elsewhere in California.
Hold your head up high when the fear comes. No, don't fall behind.
Then there was one undeniable constant. The desert's sparkling natural beauty, warm, soothing winters. It was still a wonderful weekend getaway. The houses stand as enduring monuments to Palm Springs' glamorous Hollywood era.
They
laid the foundation for the desert oasis' alluring and everlasting appeal.